So, here we go. We have another Florida Freedivers Speargun of the Month, the Sea Sniper Euro Series. You're going to hear about it all today on the Xhale podcast. I'm Eric Schraus, your host. I'm here with our other host, Rodman Lees. How's it going tonight, Rodman?
Good evening, Eric.
Good evening. Indeed. Ooh, man, we got some serious lag going on. We might have to completely redo everything here.
Between the audio and the video, or just between what you're looking at and the screen?
Between the audio and the video. So give me one sec. Speargun of the month. No, it's working. It's chooching. We're going to run it. This is our first time trying this. There's going to be some technical difficulties here. You guys are going to have to bear with us.
There we go. Telling you, we almost need a man in behind the curtain.
Yeah, right?
Taking applications.
We had one. We could have had one. Where's Jared, man? Where's Jared when you need him?
Alabama.
Our next step on this, I know you guys are going to miss the intro song. It's pretty much the key feature to the Xhale podcast. We're going to get that sorted out so we can start doing that on this as well. But tonight's our first try, so we're working on it. Look at this. I can even, bam, boom. Switching scenes over here. Bam. All right, this is awesome. So let's go ahead and get into it. Enough playing around with this whole setup. You wanna lead us into the Sea Sniper there?
For sure. So Eric and I both got the chance to put the Sea Sniper through its paces. We have a Sea Sniper demo gun that's in this natural finish, which is really, really pretty. It's that mahogany and red. What do you call this? Red
Baloo.
Red Baloo. So there you have it. We'll get some close-up shots and stuff like that as we go through it. But it is a really pretty gun. The gun that I shot is in closed track, and the ones that we're going to be talking about today are in closed track. They do make an open track of the gun, which I also really like. The demo gun's a 130, right? So either 120 or 130.
130 is what we shot.
130, yeah. And if I'm going to shoot a 130, that's pretty much going to be like a pelagic, open water, blue water gun. I like having it on a closed track for that application. So it was perfect. Got it on my lap. Put it where people can see this thing, right?
There you go. So that is the natural finish gun that, like you just said. They make a bunch of different colors as well. I've got some behind me. You probably can't see them unless I go like this, sitting there. So I'll grab a couple of those in a second so you can get a close-up look as to what those look like. But
nice. Before we get into the finishes, let's just kind of break the gun down. I really like the muzzle on it. The way they have their muzzle set up, it's like a combination between an actual muzzle and then like a wooden notched spear gun.
Yeah.
So you got the benefits of like good hard like attachment points. It's not like a chintzy pin coming out for your line release or anything like that. It's a big solid plate in there, which I really like. It keeps the bands there's enough room for the bands, so it keeps the bands organized, and it also keeps the shooting line where it wants to be. There's a nice deep channel for that shooting line, as opposed to just like a notch in the gun or something like that.
Yeah, it's a pretty, like you're saying, it's a pretty unique muzzle. You really don't see many wood guns with that style setup on them. You usually see band holes cut straight through the stock.
Yeah.
And that's it. But this allows those bands to actually get up real high on the track, and they're very, very in line with the shaft, which is a pretty cool setup.
For sure. And speaking of the shafts, man, I really like their shafts. Kind of stainless steel tuned floppers. They come with shark tabs, and the shark tabs, like one of my pet peeves are shark tabs that aren't properly welded on there. There's nothing worse than throwing a band or two onto a tab and having that tab pop off, which is more common than you might think. These things are welded on there, laser welded on there really well.
If we can't get a close-up on those bad boys.
Boom.
Look at that, dude.
So, there you go. That's those are the tabs on there. They're welded on there really nice. You can run your shooting line through either side. Can you see the muzzle?
Okay, let me change our view here because we're only looking at half the screen.
Boom.
Look at that.
Boom. So there's that muzzle. The bands are cut into the wood, but it has that metal plate on it. And then if Eric can zoom in real tight, you can see where it runs that shooting line right there. So that shooting line's never going to come off. It's in that kind of gate, I'll call it, of that muzzle. Works really, really well. And the whatchamacallit, body is also notched. So it's really locked in there, which is nice. There's nothing worse than trying to rig your gun real fast and having that shooting line slip off. That's super frustrating. So they do a really good job. It's also ballasted. Behind these plates are ballast, which is really nice. So I like these guns. You know, we'll talk about pros and cons with them, but
There's always some.
yeah, man, nothing, and it's because they can't make it to perfect for me. You know, they try to make it perfect for the guy making it. He designed it how he wants to make it.
Let's lead into it with a couple pros, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool. Some of the first things that I like about it, and actually one of the main features of the gun to me, is that the overall length of the gun is shorter than any other comparable gun.
For sure.
So like one of the guns I would compare to it closest is like the Rifeuro, right? Which is a pretty similar style gun as far as function and everything like that, and look.
I'd say that's a standard gun that wood Euro guns should be compared to. You know, like that's kind of the measuring stick is the Rifeuro. I think a lot of people are familiar with it, so it makes sense to you know, kind of compare and contrast it to that one.
Yeah. So if you grab a Rifeuro, let's say we have a what is that? Probably a 90 looks like.
Yeah, that's
Something like
probably
that.
90.
So if you grab a 90 Rifeuro,
Yeah,
not the extended stock, the full rear handle, and the 90 Sea Sniper, it is actually a shorter overall stock length, but has the same amount of band stretch, which is pretty interesting. And the way they do that is with that full reverse mechanism is all the way in the back of the stock there. I mean,
They cut that stock off
There's-
right behind the mech.
there's a half-inch of wood behind that trigger mechanism.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
And then same up in the front, you don't have much excess stock hanging out the front of the gun, so don't have any major overhang issues, and it just makes for a really compact package that packs a lot of punch.
Exactly. So you have that full stretch, and it just makes swinging the gun that much easier, diving with it that much easier. It's extremely hydrodynamic,
Yeah.
which is nice. I like that I really like the safety on it. So if you're gonna run a safety, I feel like a lot of gun designers build these really cool guns and then slap some hooky bar safety on there as an afterthought, and they really try to they always seem to cut that corner. With this safety, it's like an active active engaged safety, so it almost like clicks over and clicks back, so you know where it's at. It's still smooth to use though, and you can do it with one hand, one gloved hand. You don't have to worry about it. It is similar to that Rife safety where it's a bar that goes back and forth, but this is a big honking bar. So it's really easy to manipulate and turn the safety on and off.
Yeah, there's no mistaking which position it's in.
Yeah, exactly. So I really like that. I also really like the line release. They left enough of the actual release on there to where you can easily put 2 wraps on there. You see some guns where if you want to double wrap it, I mean and even that 300-pound mono will just be hanging on, you know? Why not put enough of a line release on there to where I don't have to, barely get it on there. I want to loop that line release on, and it's one of those things where you don't really think about it until you shoot the gun a bunch of times, and you just loading it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. And overall, I mean, as far as a Euro gun, it really hits exactly what I'm looking for in a Euro gun. I want something that is maximum rear handle and is just a sleek design, easy to track, thin, preferably wider than it is tall through the water. And I think they hit that perfectly. I think it embodies everything that a Euro gun should.
It is beefier than the Rife.
It's a little beefier, and only in the sense
it's a bigger stock.
I would say the stock is probably a little bit taller.
Yeah.
But I would say that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's not too tall. It's kind of got like an oval profile to it, so it's still it's pretty hydrodynamic.
Oh, for sure.
But I mean, you and I have both seen issues with the Rife stocks. I think that's a perfect way around it.
The Rife will definitely warranty a warped stock, but that doesn't mean that their stocks don't warp. You
Yeah.
know, those are two very different statements. Yeah, so I really like that. I like that the enclosed track's replaceable. So if you do shoot it into a hole or for whatever reason the spear busts through the enclosed track, it's easy enough to replace.
Or you just wear it out, which happens too. If you're shooting the thing every day, you can wear a track out.
Yeah.
Or a gun that's 10 years old,
Yeah.
Throw a
for
new
sure.
track in, it's going to be a new gun.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. And what's nice about these tracks, instead of like a poured track, for example, and you see that a lot because the poured tracks look cool. They're like, they can do different color swirls and stuff like that. Is because this is extruded plastic. There's no like residue or anything like that on the inside. With some of those poured tracks, when they go back and like put an epoxy over the gun or any kind of varnish, a lot of times that'll get into the track and just kind of gum it up. You don't have to worry about that with like a replaceable plastic track. So that I like that as a deal too. And I only recently started noticing how many tracks like aren't perfectly smooth, and then and how much that affects things.
It's only been a thing that we've looked at recently. I never really considered it to be an issue until I saw it as an issue in a gun where it was literally holding the shaft in the track. I mean, the gun was shooting poorly because of it.
Yeah.
And wasn't a bad gun. It just happened to like have some finish got stuck inside of it or whatever.
For
and
sure.
It really affects it. I will say there are a couple advantages to the poured tracks, particular when you start running like the graphite tracks, where they mix like graphite powder into the epoxy and pour that, and then do the same thing. And those are very, very low drag tracks, and they shoot very quickly. So those have an advantage to them. And one thing that's always bothered me about the whatever they are, the UHMW or whatever they make them out of, is that they're always raised a little bit above the stock.
For sure.
And not that that's a big deal or anything, but to me, it just bothers my eye.
I think they look a little chintzy. You know,
They do, yeah.
They look a little chintzy.
Yeah, and you look at them on, and it doesn't mean that they're bad. I mean, I would say they function just perfectly, but they don't quite have that high-end look to it,
Yeah.
So there is that, but the function of them is perfect.
So one I've talked about that with some people, and the answer that they gave was that they're raised because it raises the whole shaft out of the track a little bit.
Right.
And so now the bands aren't rubbing on the track quite as hard. The bands are actually like above the body of the gun.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Stock,
it makes sense. Oh, dude, I'm glad I switched the scene for that.
Woo. Woo.
And that does make perfect sense. One thing that I think is a lot of that has to do with the shaft. So like, for example, the company Spearcrafters, who I'm a big fan of, they make awesome shafts. I think they're probably one of the best in the United States, at least. They make a special shark fin tab on their shafts that keeps the wishbone above the track so it doesn't touch the gun. I think it's an awesome thing.
There you go.
It's one of the only companies I've ever seen that does that.
Yeah.
And it actually makes a difference. So those are cool. And I mean, that's just a detail.
The trigger mech, we were talking about that reverse trigger mech earlier, that it sets the gun, that it helps that overall length of the stock. That trigger mech is super smooth too, man. When you shoot this gun, it's not a big like, I'm trying to think of the right words. Going live, right? But but it's a very, very smooth trigger pull. It's a super clean break. I was really impressed by how well that mechanism worked, like how smooth the trigger pull was on it.
And I will say, like, regarding the trigger mech, I respect the fact that they make their own parts and it's their own mechanism.
Yeah.
And I've taken these things apart before because that's how I am. And it's a pretty interesting setup. So I'll probably show you later when I get a little bit closer look on that thing. But the whole handle frame, like if you look at the handle, it's all one stainless piece, right? The actual frame itself, the mechanism is welded to the handle frame. So the handle and the trigger mech are all one unit that bolt into the stock, which is pretty interesting.
and beefy. Like that.
It's
that
strong.
is a bulletproof setup.
Yeah,
you know.
it is bulletproof. I mean, it's
Yeah.
probably one of the strongest setups I've ever seen on a custom gun, and just the fact that they do it different. Like you don't
gotta-
see any other companies do that.
No,
You know,
it's no.
and we've talked about that before. Like I like stuff that's different. I
Yeah.
don't like the same thing done over and over again. I think we're both on that page.
2x2 teak with a Neptonic sugar mac.
Yeah,
You know?
is the going saying, I guess.
Yeah.
I think we coined that phrase, dude. There's a bunch of people that have been hearing say that now.
Nice.
I think it's us.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Oh, we lost your feed.
Uh-oh.
We're switching over. We're working with some shoddy equipment here. You know,
Hey,
this is a
man.
very haphazard setup.
That's a D7100.
There we go. We're back. There you are. Oh, that's me. I swear. Whatever. We're learning.
We're learning.
But yeah, as far as the whole setup of the gun, I like the way the gun is set up. I think it handles well in the water. There's definitely guns that I've seen that could use a little bit better ballasting, let's say. But that's really comes down to individual setups. I know they've made guns custom for scuba guys that wanted negatively buoyant guns. Our demo gun is a negatively buoyant gun.
I will say that demo gun is the most negative gun I've ever shot.
It's, yeah.
Like, to say that it's negative is to say that the Titanic, when it hit the iceberg, was negatively buoyant. You drop that thing, you better start getting after it.
Better get your kick on.
Better get your kick on. It was. I was surprised. It would also surprise me was how much the weight of that gun, because it was so heavy, helped manage the recoil. That thing shot really, really well.
It does. And I've shot the gun in the pool a lot. I mean, it's very accurate. It is laser straight.
Yeah.
Very manageable recoil. I mean, that's part of that pocketed handle grip is, I mean, that makes a huge difference. This, as far as custom guns go, this is one of the lowest shaft axis guns I've ever seen on a custom gun.
Nice.
Even the Seawolf has a higher shaft axis, you know, and I'm pretty partial to my Seawolf.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's as far as that goes, and for anybody that doesn't know what shaft axis is, we've talked about it in some previous episodes, so we can link whatever episode that was. So if you want to learn about that more in depth, you can listen to it. But here, let me switch it to you. Rod's pointing it out.
There we go.
So if you look at go ahead and put your hand on the handle.
So the shaft compared to where my hand is. So if I point my finger from the grip, how close is that my finger actually to the shaft?
Exactly. So you have those two parallel axes, basically. Axi.
Is on a biller?
Is that a thing? Axi or axes?
Let's go axi.
I like it.
Biller would be like here.
Yeah. And all that does is it manages muzzle flip mostly.
Yeah. It pushes that recoil straight back in your hand instead of pushing it.
Exactly.
Like that.
The higher that axis is, the more rotation the gun gets, the more muzzle flip you get.
The more like leverage it's got on your hand.
Yeah. And
I also think it helps me with just my natural aim point. If I'm pointing right there, I know I'm pointing right there. You know?
And I mean, it's night and day. If you shoot a gun like a biller that has a giant shaft axis, huge
especially
gap.
if that's not what you're shooting every day, if you're used to a better gun.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
Makes a big difference. So that's between that and the overall stock length. I think those are two huge pros to these guns. Oops.
I know we were talking about Sea Sniper, but I had to do some ordering. I do all the ordering in Florida Freedivers. I do some ordering from Biller today. What do you think their most expensive gun is?
PJ Cole says, "What up, my dudes?"
Nice.
What up, PJ?
Yeah, good job limiting out on the last day of the season, buddy. But what do you think the most expensive gun Biller makes is?
That Biller makes?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you.
$1,000. They make $1,000 gun.
$1,000. I kind of want it.
The Biller Limited 60-inch.
What's it made out of?
Teak? Mahogany, maybe. Mahogany.
Dude,
But
I kind of want, just so I can say I've got $1,000 Biller.
man, I think of a lot better ways to spend $1,000.
Oh, dude, I could think of a million better ways to spend $1,000. But between that and that Biller hat that Florida Freedivers gave away at the Christmas party,
That was a good one.
you'd be styling in a motlin, and that'd be a setup, dude.
All right, cool. So we those are things that the gun does well, right?
Yep.
Shaft, mechanism, overall length. Some of the cons. One, that demo gun that I shot, and it just the way that it was ballasted. And granted, it's a demo gun. They're not going to give me the perfect gun to right. It's a demo gun, but that thing was super negative.
Yep.
I wouldn't want to, for what I'm using it for freediving. I wouldn't want a gun that negative, especially like a 130 blue water gun, where if I accidentally drop it, that thing she gone.
Yeah.
I'm not so great.
Yep.
Also,
better be shooting a float line.
yeah, right. Because it is such a short, butt to muzzle. When you do go to load it, you have to load that last, the furthest back band blind.
That is a good point.
And even with like I have a pretty low volume mask. And I can see it pretty good. I'm still loading that last little bit blind, and it's a little sketchy because I'll feel it like kind of clip on there. But whenever I let go of the band, I'm always expecting it to just freaking pop off and fly forward and shoot the gun back at me.
It's definitely sketchy to load. It's not that it's sketchy. It just takes a little bit of getting used to. I mean, the first time I tried to get it on there, dude, I was hurting. But after I got used to it, I don't have a problem with it anymore. It doesn't bother me as much.
I mean, it is what it is. I'm chalking that up to the on the con side of the gun.
Okay, no, I agree with that. I think it can be. I know people that were totally turned off on the gun because they couldn't reach that back tab.
You can reach it. Reaching it's not the problem. It's just me thinking
you can. Not everybody can.
I guess that's a good point. I honestly didn't really think about that. You are bringing it way closer to your body than on like an extended stock rifle.
Yeah, and just to kind of touch on the buoyancy thing that you were talking about before, or the ballasting rather. While that was an issue with that gun, and I've seen it on one or two others. Sea Sniper takes care of their customers, man. We sold a gun to a customer, and it was not ballasted correctly, and they took care of that. I mean, they were on top of it because obviously they take pride and joy in making these guns,
Oh,
so
for sure.
They are on top of that.
And to say that it wasn't ballasted correctly, the thing still floated flat in the water. Like it was ballasted. Because a lot of times the ballasting is like the pitch of the gun.
Yeah.
The pitch was still perfect.
Yeah.
It was just negative, so it would point. You could hold it in one hand. It would point no problem.
Yeah, that's good. It's not the ballasting that was a problem. It was just a negative.
It was just negatively buoyant. And some scuba guys, man, are all about that. And I get that, because if I'm in 90 feet of water and I drop my gun, well, that sucks. I could probably get it, but there better not be much current, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Where if I'm scuba diving 90 feet and my gun's positively buoyant and something happens,
and you drop your gun, and
there better be no current.
It's going 90 feet one way or another, whatever, depending on what you're doing.
Exactly. So you want it to be for what you're using it for.
Yeah.
You see those scuba guys with like the home phone telephone cord freaking deal strapping their guns to themselves.
And they shoot fish with it.
Hey man,
whatever puts them in the boat, man. Whatever puts them in the boat.
Hey man, you want to use dynamite as long as you're within the legal limits, huh? I'm not saying that scuba diving's cheating. I'm just saying you're making it as easy as possible.
That's fine. Or is it? We've talked about that before too. That was one of the first. I think that might have been the first episode. Or the second.
Scuba diving with a spear gun is as easy as you can make spearfishing. Period.
Yeah, it really is. I mean,
and that's not to say that it's bad.
Yeah,
but you're taking as much. Literally, you're taking the legal amount of challenge out of it.
And you hear the adverse side to that, saying like, "Oh, well, it's harder to hunt the fish because you're blowing bubbles and the fish sit." Nah, dude. Like, you can dive 150 feet on scuba and blast a Warsaw grouper.
Yeah, and you can just stay down there.
Let's try that. Let's try that free dive. How many guys have shot Warsaw groupers free diving?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's not really. There's no argument to it, but you can. And it's like, oh yeah, well, hold your breath. Hold your breath for 10 seconds. You have no bubbles. Don't go up. But you can stay at the bottom and hold your breath on scuba.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Or slowly breathe in. Don't hold your breath. Just slowly breathe in.
You heard it here first from Robin Lee's ex-scuba instructor.
There you go. From 150 feet, take a really big breath, hold it, swim to the surface.
No, let's not say that on live on YouTube for one thing.
I'm obviously just kidding. That would be instantly fatal.
Legal disclaimer: do not
don't
free
do
dive
that.
or scuba dive at all.
I was being facetious.
At all. Just don't do it. It's an
Yeah.
awful sport.
But if you slowly breathe in, you won't have any bubbles.
There you go.
And you can sneak up on fish.
Just a real smooth.
There you go. That's it.
All right, back to the sea sniper gun. A couple. I would say my least favorite thing about the gun is the handle, the grips itself.
All right. So okay. You say why you don't like it. I will say why I like it.
Okay, fair enough. And again, a million times we've said this, that spearfishing, when it comes to gear and freediving, it is 99.9% personal preference.
Yeah.
As far as what stuff you like.
For sure.
Personally, I don't like the grips. I think it is too narrow of a grip, and I don't like the way it just feels too bulky in my hand, like depth wise, not
Yeah.
width wise, but depth wise.
Yeah.
Like it holds my fingers out too far. I feel like I can't really get a comfortable grip on it.
Gotcha.
Now that could be easily remedied. You know, it is. So it has a handle frame with two.
No, you got
a look on your face.
Of course I do.
It's just a handle frame with two sides, two wood sides. You could change those
Scales.
pretty easily. Oh man, your video cut out again. Let me turn that back on and I'll switch it to you to give you. Oh, that means everybody missed that stupid face you were just giving me.
Oh, bummer.
Let me go ahead and change it to just me so nobody's looking at this.
Crazy. How long does it take before it cuts out?
That seems about 15 minutes.
Crazy.
And now, oh, there we go.
All right, I'm back. So the reason why I do like it, there's 3 reasons. And let's preface all those reasons with saying the stock handle's kind of doo-doo. Stock handle's kind of doo-doo.
All right.
But the first reason is I really like that it's welded to the mechanism, that it's all one piece. I think that's freaking badass. And
That has literally nothing to do with the grips.
Oh, no, that's the grip. Second of all, with the grip is that you have that high bore axis, that high shaft axis, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And that, that's rare on spear guns. And there's only a couple guns that do that real well. This is one of them. So I really like that. And 2, I like that it's that frame. It makes epoxy putting like a real grip, which I do on almost all of my guns. Makes it that much better.
Name one gun you have an epoxy grip on.
Dude, basically, if it's not a Rob Allen green handle, it's in the process of getting epoxy handle.
In the process. I
Yeah.
like it. All right. Fair enough, man. Fair enough.
It makes it so much better to have like a custom fit.
I'm not
bulky
calling you
grip,
out or
too.
anything. I'm just saying. Yeah, I think you said exactly what I said.
Nope.
I like those were pros.
Nope.
It has a low shaft axis.
Yeah.
And that welded mech are amazing. I think those 2 things are phenomenal. I just don't like the grip itself. The grip pads, let's say, the scales, the hand feel.
I actually like the depth, I'll call it. I think that fits my hand pretty perfect.
There you go.
It needs more width though, for sure. You're absolutely right about that. It needs some more width. But the depth fits my hand pretty good.
Nice. And that's, like I said, man, 99.9% of this is just what works for you, what fits you the best.
Yeah.
You know, like we've talked about with mass before, what you walk up to the wall here in Florida Freedivers and there's over 100 mass on the wall. Which one's the best one? Well, it's the one that fits your face, because everybody's got a different face.
Yeah.
And man, you got those like nuclear radioactive paws over there. Man, those things
Hamburger
are
helper hands.
all kinds of jacked up. So,
Well,
if you need a
you know what
need a
they
weird
say
grip,
about big hands? Big spear gun grips,
true that.
True that. So I like it. What else as far as cons go?
I don't have many, man. I think
don't
it's a
have
pretty
many.
pretty
have
solid
many.
gun. I think what we addressed as far as the buoyancy, whether it's neutral or negative, is definitely a thing. But like I said, I know they've made some guns intentionally negative. So whether or not those like get out in the mix of their normal guns that they
For
sell
sure.
or
Or
what.
if you're spearfishing on scuba, and I've done a ton of spearfishing on scuba, I just like to bust those, bust those guys' balls. I've done probably 50% of my spearfishing on scuba, so a ton of spearfishing on scuba.
Yeah.
I am,
And I've done my fair share too. I mean,
yeah.
everyone's
So,
been. You got to start somewhere. You start
hey
in the
man,
easy stuff.
you go scuba diving in the morning, free dive in the afternoon. It's perfect. I, but So if you want a negative gun, there's also an option for you, and you can still have that quiet wood gun and have it be negative. You don't need like
Yeah.
a Rife Metal Tech or something like that.
That's like another cool thing is they can custom make the gun exactly to your standards. Like, if you want a negative gun, they can make it. If you want it neutral, they can make it. If you want a positive, they can make that.
Yeah.
If you want a different color, which I think we should go ahead and showcase these. This is one thing I think Sea Sniper does a sweet job at.
Yeah.
Because there's one color that they make that is my favorite. It got me started on the flake.
It's got to be
train.
the white. It's got to be the white.
The white with the blue flakes. So I'm
I
gonna
think
switch.
the white is everyone's favorite.
I'm gonna switch our camera angles here to the active cam,
Boom.
which is gonna put me in the corner down here. Rodman's our main featured focus. I'm just gonna hand you these guns.
Perfect.
Let me take my heads off. All right. We'll start
Hand modeling these things.
with the cryptid camo.
Boom.
Okay. So this is the what do they call it? The Black Mamba, I believe. It is
The Black Mamba.
pretty
Can
cool
you zoom?
pattern. It was real
Can you see
popular.
it?
Yep. Here, this
So
camera.
it's like a black and blue, and gray. I'd say like cryptic pattern,
Oh yeah.
which is still big. If anyone went to the SHOT Show, seen any photos from the SHOT Show, cryptic is still big in the.
Focus. There we go.
We'll call it the tactical community. And it's an effective camo. This is definitely for looks, which I think is 99% of all spearfishing camo. But
Really
but
nice
it does
color though.
freaking look cool.
Looks really sweet. Let's grab the next one.
And they do a really good job with their hydro dipping. Not everyone pulls off that hydro dipping well. This is just perfect hydro dips.
Honestly, like hydro dipping, especially something like to get the hydro dip to wrap all the way around like it does.
Yeah.
They did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, it is not.
Yeah.
It's not easy, and you know it's not easy
the next
because
one.
a lot of big companies just don't do it right.
So this one's like a tan digi camo. It's called Tiger Stripe. Zoom in on that one real quick too.
Boom.
This is one of my favorite colors as far as the hydro dip guns go.
It looks really cool underwater.
It looks cool,
It
and they
pops
also do the
underwater.
same thing in a blue digi as well.
Yep.
But we didn't have one of those to show you, unfortunately. But another really sick color. Love the way it looks.
And it's unique, man. You don't see a lot of that digi camo on guns,
No.
so that's really cool.
And actually, while you're holding that up, I'll go ahead and show that handle pocket too.
Boom.
So
And you
there-
can see
oh,
there's
hold
really
on, stop,
nothing.
Stop moving the gun.
Uh-oh.
There we go. So you can see how that handle is actually recessed into the, up into the stock. Gets your hand a lot
like
closer to
cutaway.
the shaft axis and really helps mitigate that muzzle flip.
There you go.
Boom. And you can see how far back that trigger mech is too. Look at that.
Boom.
Look at that. All right, next color. And I think not only my favorite, but a shop favorite. I don't know. What's your favorite?
The white for sure.
Okay. Let's go ahead and grab it. Let's take a peek at this beauty.
And I think it's everyone's favorite. We sell it the best. And the reason why is it just freaking.
When was the last time you saw a full-blown white spear gun? And not only
it's
white,
crazy.
This thing is flaked with a blue metallic flake.
Like a pearlescent flake.
I don't know if the camera is going to actually pick that flake up. We might have to get like an actual close, not just zoomed in.
Yeah.
But man, that white pops.
Pops. And underwater, it looks... Your buddies aren't going to lose you.
It is bright.
It's bright.
It is bright.
And you want to talk about a cobia gun? You're going to get close to some cobia with this gun.
Well, you're getting close to something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Getting close to something. But you just don't, again, so like, I love unique stuff. I like companies that do things different. And you don't see many white spear guns out there.
No.
You know, it's just not really, it doesn't seem to really be a thing. And it looks sick, man. And keep in mind, too, one cool thing, including the Hydro Dip guns, they use automotive paint. This is not like rattle can stuff from Home Depot, which is my specialty. But no, this is legit automotive paint. I mean, it is a hard enamel with a clear coat on it as well. So this is painted white, and I'm assuming it's flaked and then clear coated. Oh, I thought we lost you, but we did. Oh, we did lose you. Stand by. Technical difficulty number 96. Oh,
Holy shit.
I bet you're glad the camera cut out for that one. Hold on, I'll just switch to myself here. Because nobody
Alright.
wants to stare at that.
No.
She might have run out of battery, actually. Man, we were not prepared for this at all.
Well, that's a bummer.
What's she doing?
She on?
I don't know what she's doing.
All right.
Anyway, it's looking at me.
Hey, this is live video. This is how we're doing it.
This is how we are doing it. We pretty much covered everything that I wanted to talk about the guns. I wish we could have gotten, and maybe we can bring that gun over here real quick see if we can catch that flake in the camera. But yeah, like we said, sick guns. This is the Florida Freedivers spear gun of the month for February. Let's see, can we get something going on here? I don't know. I don't think the camera's going to pick it up. But it is just the most subtle blue metallic flake. A really nice touch, man. When you get close to the thing, it just is gorgeous. Awesome gun. Florida Freedivers is going to be promoting this bad boy all month. So definitely look down in the bio underneath. Not the bio. What is that called on YouTube? The description. The doobly-doo.
There you go.
Down below, there's going to be a link where you can go check this gun out on their website. Or you can check it out in their store as well. Florida Freedivers out here in North Palm Beach, Florida. They are one of our awesome sponsors of the Xhale podcast, as well as Ballast Freediving and Teach Me to Freedive.
And Bud Light.
Bud Light this week, I guess. Yeah, so thanks for tuning into our first live podcast. This is going to get saved on to YouTube as well on our channel, so be sure to check that. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Man, what are we at? 27 subscribers? We're
Yes.
making it to the top.
Thank you to all of our listener for making our dreams come true.
All of our listener. I like it. We're on our way to the top. We started at the bottom. We're still here, but we're working on it. So thanks for tuning into this one, guys, and we'll see you next time. Adios.